these high schools or like these colleges, they don't really care about social. Like they're not going to ask you how many friends you have. They're like looking at your grades and your behavior. Behavior is a big thing.
Welcome to a special season finale of Ask the Girls. Today, our moderators, Samara and Shylah, are standing at an exciting crossroads. Samara has completed middle school and is preparing to enter high school this fall, while Shylah is getting ready for her final year of middle school. Change can bring excitement, uncertainty, hope, and even a little fear. Today, we'll talk about what they've learned, what they hope to accomplish, and how faith helps us navigate new seasons of life. Samara and Shylah, introduce yourselves and then let's review your recent episodes for Imuna listeners.
I'm Shylah and I'm 13 and I'm going to the 8th grade. And a hobby of mine is making bracelets.
Okay.
My name is Samara. I'm 14 years old, and I'm going to my dream high school, Duke Ellington. And one of my hobbies is art and singing.
Okay. So, Imuna listeners, since this is our season finale, we just wanted to do a review of recent episodes. So, the last one that the girls did was Following God When It's Hard. That was March 27th, and it looked at authority, obedience, and respect. And we discussed true leadership versus harmful power. What else would you girls like to say as a summary for how following God when it's hard?
Following God when it's hard was about like basically following his plan and what he has for you, even when it seems like crazy or something that like is like uncomfortable to you do.
Okay, that was Shylah. Samara, you have anything from following God when it's hard?
It was an episode of dealing with the struggles of following God, even though it feels hard, and getting through it with prayer and faith.
Okay, great, great. And then in December 19th, we have Santa or Savior, the question kids are really asking. And one of the key things that they looked at was imagination and faith, and can they exist together?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes because it was kind of like we talked about like theories and like kind of like the originality of Santa, and I learned a lot of things about Santa. Yeah, and yeah, that episode is about like, but like, I feel like a lot of like what a lot of kids believe Santa as, and like what he, I think, actually was, or like just seeing it in a different way, seeing how he was in a different way,
Okay.
and like kind of putting like religion or like Jesus and like kind of thinking of both.
Okay.
Um, I feel like that that was a good episode too, because we got to talk about um how Santa originated and the theories like behind it. And I felt like it also gave some of our younger listeners like their perspective on it and basically including them into the conversation, because some kids who might experience like faith early in their childhood might be confused on if they should believe in Santa.
Okay, great. And then October 3rd, overcoming fear with faith. This is episode that I remember where you have to trust God when you're trying new things.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that episode was filmed, I think, in a time where I had tried like a new class and stuff. And I was just like trying to I just thought of that episode because of what the experience that I had. And the episode is basically essentially about when we go into new things, you should have faith because like going into new things can be scary because like you're like walking into the unknown, but you can walk into the unknown with God and have faith that He will stay beside you.
I felt like the episode was mainly about how we were going into new things in our lives, and the listeners might be relating to that. And we gave advice on how to overcome it, like with faith.
Okay. Thank you, Samara and Shylah, for those summaries. Imuna listeners, I know you are excited to hear about Samara's plans. She will be attending Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C., and as you heard earlier, she said it's her dream school. Duke Ellington is the only high school in the District of Columbia that combines a full college preparatory curriculum with intensive pre-professional arts training. Students are admitted through an audition and interview process into one of 8 majors, ranging from dance and instrumental music to theater, visual arts, and vocal music. Students perform and exhibit their work at the Kennedy Center, the White House, and national and international events. So, Samara, what are some of your favorite memories from middle school and what excites you most about high school?
My favorite memories in middle school was being able to perform for the first time there, where I sang Young and Beautiful by Lana Del Rey. And it was the first time I performed in front of everybody. And I was like really nervous doing it. But when I was like done with it, people were like saying I looked so confident. And I even opened up the show with being a model and like performing the outfits. And it was all such like a fun and one of my core memories from it. And I felt like what I can't wait for high school is the transition and being able to be in a new experience. And this is just like my feelings on it because I felt like the transition is going to leave a big impact on me because it cemented how far I've gone. And because I was mistreated all my early years, it pushed me not to become like discarded from like the experience of the mistreating, but hopeful because there were people that were inspired by me to advocate for my experience, which led me to push myself into great things like being a graduate and a founder of my school and into my dream high school to Ellington.
Okay. So, what advice would you give Shyla as she enters her final year of middle school?
My advice for eighth grade is to not get caught up in your head and to like live in the moment of a classroom. I know it could be like overstimulating, but your presence like means value. You can like make a mistake and take a chance because I promise you'll come out wiser and more grateful for the experience and like not to be or not to have this expectation put on you, but to live your life fully.
Imuna listeners, Shyla has big plans for her final year of middle school, right?
Yep. My goals for 8th grade is to get honor roll every quarter. Cause last year, I kind of was lacking a bit, but I was doing my best, but like I still like it was still pretty hard because like it was mostly because of like one grades. that I would mess up. So I wanted to like try and stay at least like every other quarter. I want to get on at least. I want to try and stay grounded and at peace because school it can really all the distractions and all the it's so much that, like, you forget, like, your own personal, like, goals a lot of times, so I just wanna, like, remind myself more of why I'm here and what my purpose is, being here at, my main purpose for 8th grade going into high school. Another big one is to study more because I feel like if I can study, like, at least, like every other day during the week, I feel like I would be, like, fine academically. But, like, it's, like, also really hard for me to study, like, last year because I had so much work, like, classwork and school like, homework. So if the because of behavior last year, a lot of times the classwork wouldn't get done, so the teachers would send home homework and classwork, so it would just be a lot of work. So that's not really like other people's behavior I can't really control. So I was also another thing what I would say is still like even though the teacher might have stopped teaching to do whatever and handle something, I can still at least personally try and get my classwork finished so I wouldn't have more work to do. But those are some of my goals for
Okay, okay. What kind of example do you want to be for younger students?
I want to be someone who is like you know that you see as an example basically for like being a leader. Cause a lot of times what happens, like I feel like with younger kids is there's like kids that they see doing like the wrong thing a lot of times. And instead of focusing on like themselves and like their work and like their school presence or academically, they kind of get like pushed into the social part, and you have to kind of remind yourself that that is a big part of your whole like school life, like middle school, high school, college. But you have to remember that these high schools or like these colleges or these middle schools, if like you're in a young grade, they don't really care about social. Like they're not going to ask you how many friends you have when you're going into or middle school or wherever grade you're going to. They're like looking at your grades and your behavior. Your behavior is a big thing. Like if you're disrespectful to teachers, if you like just don't really have good behavior, then like that can affect you. And you might not think it, but it will.
Okay. Okay, good. So this question goes for both of you. What does it mean to trust God when you don't know exactly what's coming next?
Um, I would say that means that when you're going through a time where like basically you don't know what's coming next, you can trust that God can only put as much as you can handle. He won't like do anything to like that you cannot handle. So you just gotta remember God put this in your life for a reason and that it's all a part of his plan and that he loves you and he cares for you, so he wouldn't do anything to
Oh, that is
overbreak you.
excellent, excellent. Samara?
I feel like God is like a journey and you just gotta step out of your own head and see the bigger picture, like see what God is trying to tell you, what he's trying to show you, and letting that light shine through your actions and like because you bring value in like an overstimulating world, but you have to also have faith in knowing in his plan to be able to overcome whatever that you're going through to see what he's trying to do for you.
Okay. Okay, great, great. Samara and Shylah, thank you for sharing your hopes, goals, and feelings about the new season ahead. As we've been talking, one thing stands out. Whenever we're facing something new, it helps to learn from people who have gone before us. The Bible is filled with ordinary people who face challenges, uncertainty, fear, and big responsibilities, just like we do today. So, before we wrap up this season of Ask the Girls, let's talk about two of your favorite Bible heroes. Shylah, you tell us about Deborah, the courageous judge who led God's people with wisdom and faith. And Samara, you share what you've learned from Thomas, Jesus' disciple, often called Doubting Thomas, whose story reminds us that God can meet us even when we have questions. So, Imuna listeners, let's hear what these biblical heroes can teach all of us as we step into new seasons of life.
Okay. My Bible hero is Deborah. She was a female judge who was like a military, or she was a leader in the Old Testament, and she led Israel to major victory against their oppressors. And I chose Deborah because she stands out because she had like the highest position of the political and judicial and spiritual authority in ancient Israel during a time where like women weren't really, basically everything was run by men. I read chapters 4 through 5, Judges 3 through 4, and some of the main things that I got from that was basically that God basically won war for Israel, and he used Deborah, and he Deborah obeyed God and did what he said, and they defeated Syria.
Okay, great. Like you said, back in the day, women weren't given positions like that. They were supposed to be in the home, having kids and raising them. But she had a great position and she was good at it.
Mhm.
Okay. Samara?
Um, what I've learned from Thomas is in his chapter goes in John 24-29. It says, "Now Thomas, called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said to him, 'We have seen the Lord.' So he said to them, 'Unless I see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of his nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.' And after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with them. Jesus came, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, 'Peace to you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Reach your finger here, and look at my hands, and reach your hand here, and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing.' And Thomas answered and said to, 'My Lord and my God.' Jesus said to him, 'Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed.'"
Okay.
And I feel like what I have learned from this is that whether you believed in God, He will always be there waiting for you. And when your time has come, He will show Himself to you in any situation or any journey that you may be in. But He said, "Blessed are those who believe and have not seen Him." And I feel like that's like a comfort for all Christians, because even though we do not see Him, we can still feel Him spiritually and in our everyday life through like little ways of faith.
Excellent. You girls, this is just so wonderful. You explain your Bible heroes very well. That was just excellent. And Imuna listeners, it would be really nice if you would send these girls some comments telling them how much you've enjoyed their biblical heroes. And if you have a different hero, you should share it in your comments to the girls so that they can hear about your favorite characters. Now, in closing, we'd like to share messages of encouragement, a symbolic passing of wisdom moment. So, Samara, what do you want to tell Shylah?
I want to tell you to get out of your head sometimes and just
Encouragement.
and just live your life, but also like be aware of the people around you. Because it's not just about you, it's always like how to make the other person feel at times to make sure that they're comfortable. Because once you get out of your head and then you worry about somebody else and how they feel, you'll feel a bit more better about yourself and your character.
Okay. Um,
Shylah, what message do you have for your sister?
oh, my message was that it's been great to have you as a co-host and that you always bring a new point of view or a new like perspective to the podcast about the topic. And it's always like a good like um not debate, but like kind of like a
Discussion or something?
yeah, it adds a good
Conversation? Hmm.
yes.
Oh, okay. So, did you guys get a chance to put together a message of encouragement for Sister Cynthia?
No, but I know what to say.
Okay, go ahead.
To Sister Cynthia, I just want to say that it's been like really nice to have like two what is well have two people like to look up to and to always have someone to ask questions to like of like anything you have about like your like religion and stuff. And she's been a great like she always adds on to conversations and she always like um is great in like relating to some of the things that we experience or like stuff that she like experienced when she was younger. And she always like is like, oh, I experienced that too and stuff. And she's just like a great at like addition to the podcast. And
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah.
My message to Sister Cynthia is that you are such a bundle of joy to be around and that your smile always brings like a warmth to the podcast. And we always look for your input and resilience throughout your years. And we miss having you on the podcast.
Well, we miss you for the last one.
Oh, okay. Before we close, I want to take a moment to thank both of you, Shylah and Samara. Here's my message of encouragement to you both. 2 years ago, when I asked if you would be willing to help launch Ask the Girls, you said yes with enthusiasm and courage. Since then, we've spent countless hours studying God's Word, discussing Christian principles, planning episodes, and sharing your thoughts with our listeners. You haven't just been podcast moderators, you've been young ambassadors for Christ. Samara, as you prepare to begin high school, and Shylah, as you enter your final year of middle school, I want you both to know how proud I am of the young women you are becoming. I have watched you grow in confidence, wisdom, and faith. My prayer is that you will continue to trust God as He leads you into new opportunities and new challenges. Never forget that your voice matters, your faith matters, and God has a purpose for your lives. Thank you for sharing this journey with me and with our listeners. I can't wait to see what God does next in each of your lives. So, here's some scriptures I'd like to share with you and our listeners. And these are scriptures I think we may have talked about in other episodes. One is Joshua 1:9, where it says, "Be strong and courageous." And then Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you." Proverbs 3:5 and 6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." And finally, Philippians 1:6, "He who began a good work in you." We love you, we're proud of you, and we'll be cheering you on every step of the way.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we say,
Ah,
the
the girl.
girls. Did you know you can support this show by downloading and becoming a member of the Alive Podcast Network app? You'll experience unlimited access to Black hosted content, and we'll be able to keep bringing you amazing content week after week.